Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve. I'm Steve. And Shalane, you're there. Yeah, everybody drink. Thank you. Let's get started in the right way, right? Because it is Saturday morning, August 21st, 2021. It's 9:30 in the morning, Pacific time. What time is it where you're at? If you're in a different time zone, let me know, and let me know that you were able to get on here and tune in this morning. And hello, Jason. Hello, Corey Ann. Good to see everybody here. Let you know a little bit about family visiting us this weekend in a few minutes because we do have. It's interesting. It just seems like here recently we've either been someplace or had family visiting us, and I love that. Hi, Jerry. Jerry Thompson is on here. Good morning. Yeah, this shirt, Corey Ann, the shirt is too shy. I know it's. What are we going to do? We sometimes we just have to keep it subtle. Hi, Rod. Good to see you. And yeah, as you get signed in here, make sure that you are saying hi as you join the conversation, participate in the conversation this morning. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious to see where our topic goes today, because sometimes I've got ideas in my head and I'm not really sure how everybody's going to react to it, but we'll find out. Hi, Carla. Hi, Kathy. August 21st, 2021, almost through the month of August. We got another week or so, and then we will be getting into the fall months. We're getting close to that time of year when it just sort of starts to roll forward. You get into the autumn months. Yeah, not only the seasons changing again, but we get to start to roll toward that sort of the autumn pumpkin season, moving toward Halloween. And then it just seems like it snowballs as we get more into the holiday season. And then before you know it, the year is finished. So we'll see how the rest of this year rolls out, but it is August now, and we have some special days I thought would be interesting to talk about this week. Today is National Honeybee Day. It's always actually the third Saturday in August. And how many of you, I know Carla and Rick, you guys have actually raised some honeybees. Anybody else here been involved in any kind of honeybee raising or collecting honey or anything like that? Honeybees are an important part of our natural resources and environment. They've been endangered. There have been issues over the last several years. Hi, Kim Baker. Good meowing and happy Saturday to you. I have missed you as well. Good to have you here today, and glad you're able to join us. Hi, Rick. Today also, August 21st, every year, August 21st, National Senior Citizens Day. This is one that I'm starting to relate much more to days like this. It was the day we're supposed to acknowledge and recognize our senior citizens. What makes someone a senior citizen? What do you think? Oh, I forgot to turn on my lights. I'm going to turn on my lights here while we're talking. What makes somebody a senior? See the difference? I don't know if it helps or if it just washes out my complexion. What makes somebody a senior citizen? Sometimes we think of things like, turning 65, which I did this year. Is that what constitutes senior citizenship, or is it the point at which you get your first AARP notice, which actually happened to me, I think, when I was 40 or so. AARP starts getting in touch with you really early. But the National Senior Citizens Day is actually one of those national days that was determined by proclamation. President Ronald Reagan in 1988 proclaimed National Senior Citizens Day, which I think is, it's both ironic and probably expected, because up until that point, Ronald Reagan was the oldest president in office, and it was in fact a senior citizen. So, there's probably some self-serving, self-preservation involved with that. Yeah, Jerry Thompson to say 50, age 50 is senior citizenship. That's when we start, you start actually, some of the discounts come. I was pleased to find out that there are senior discounts, some of the restaurants and other places that start around age 50 or 55 at our local cinema, at the Regal Cinema, that's near us, where we go to see movies. If we do that, at age 60, I was eligible for the senior rate, which is like equivalent to what the kids pay. It's still expensive to go to the movies, but better than paying full price, right? National Senior Citizens Day, that's today. So if you're around me, recognize that I am a senior citizen, and you should honor and respect me all day today. Tonight also, we've talked about this a little bit before on Coffee Breaks with Steve, but our family for 17 years now has had this film festival that we participate in. Many of us participate in every year. And it started back in 2005. Am I correct, Rod and Kathy? 2005 was the first year. Pardon me, a little frog in the throat. You know what that means, Shalane? We got to all drink again. I love that one, Shalane. I often think of a video of a little girl yelling at the camera, I'm 16, I'm a grandmother. Wow. All right. So I started to talk about the film festival, Garlic Dance Film Festival, and the name is sort of a combination of the last name of my family in Utah, the Garlics. Rod, Kathy are on here, and it's like the Sundance Film Festival. So we have the Garlic Dance Film Festival. The last couple of years, both as a result of COVID and just as the film festival has sort of evolved and changed a little bit off and on over the years anyway, but it was, for many years, it was a maximum 12-minute short film, and around either a predetermined, like a Mad Lib type of script, or in more recent years, it's been that you could do whatever film you wanted, whatever movie you wanted, whatever genre or plot line, but it had to include certain spoken lines and certain elements. Last couple of years, it's been shorter, recognizing that we don't have access with COVID. We haven't had access to necessarily as many people or as many resources. And so it's been much shorter. This year, it's 3-minute films, maximum length, 3 minutes, with the theme being aliens. And so there are going to be several films this evening that we will all tune in and watch. I'm looking forward to it. I do have a short film in this year's festival, just as a matter of sharing that information. And yeah, it's going to be fun. We connect remotely now, again, because of COVID, not getting big groups of people together as we've sometimes done in the past, but connecting on Zoom to watch the movies. And it's going to be fun. It's just a way our family connects. It's something that we've done for years, and it's a way that we all stay connected to each other. Jay Zetterval, hello. Lila Swafford, hello. Saying hi to friends on here. Make sure that you do say hi and join the conversation. Jerry Thompson, just talking about how we all got so. How did that happen, Jerry? We were just in elementary and high school just a few days ago, right? Just a few minutes ago. How did we get to this point? But you know what, Jerry? I think we're doing all right. You got to, my motto is you have to get older. You don't have to grow up. We make choices about how old we want to feel sometimes. Yeah, physically, I can feel the difference. Anyway, Senior Citizens Day aside. 24th, August 24th, this next week, iconic, I love this name, Iconic American Restaurants Day. It's not just Restaurants Day. It's not just American Restaurants Day. It's Iconic American Restaurants Day. So what do you think fits into that category? This was actually started by some people who supported Howard Johnson's, and the Howard Johnsons are big in some part of the countries. But what else? Would Denny's be considered iconic? I'm not sure it's iconic. It's certainly around. But what are the iconic American restaurants? Apparently, we're supposed to celebrate those on the 24th. 25th is National Banana Split Day. I could get into that. I could get into celebrating that day with a national banana split. And also, if you think about it, August 25th, we're going to talking again about how quickly the year progresses once we get into the fall. August 25th, we are 4 months away from Christmas at that point. Is that too soon to start talking about it? We're 2/3 of the way through the year, and we're going to be snowballing into the end of the year. So, hey, yeah, iconic to whom? I agree. That was, yes, Director Dog asking who determines if it's iconic, if it's an iconic restaurant. Iconic to whom? 26th. How many of you have dogs, love dogs? You are owned by a dog. You have a dog as a family member. National Dog Day, August 26th is National Dog Day. It's a day to get a cake and a candle and confetti and ribbons and celebrate your dog. Put a nice party hat on them. Throw a party for and with your dog. And then I love this one. This is how we're ending our look at special days this week. August 27th is Just Because Day. No reason to have a day like that, just having it just because. What are you going to do on that day? Whatever you want to, just because. So yeah, August 27th is Just Because Day. Okay. Jerry Zetterval. Hi, Jerry Zetterval, by the way. I roll. Yeah. Steve, you haven't changed at all except you ditched the eyeglasses. Yeah, I do the contact lenses. You know what's funny though, talking about getting older, Jerry, is even with the contact lenses, and I have the progressive lenses or whatever they call them. It's like my contact lenses are supposed to be for both distance and close up. But I find as more time goes by for reading, I need to add the reading glasses to the contacts, which is amazing. Isn't that wonderful? We're going to talk about guilty pleasures today. Now, what is a guilty pleasure? What are guilty pleasures? We all have things that we enjoy doing. So what makes something a guilty pleasure as opposed to just a pleasure, right? For instance, I don't know if I consider coffee a guilty pleasure. I love coffee. Not as much as I love my wife and my family, but love a good cup of coffee. Okay, so now we can go down a rabbit trail or a different path with guilty pleasures, because there are certain things that you would think of that are actually go beyond guilty, and maybe they are some addictions or other things, addictions as an example, whatever they might be. I don't want to talk about that today. That's a whole different topic. Yeah, they may be guilty pleasures, but I really want to talk about the harmless guilty pleasures. And the definition, loosely speaking, of a guilty pleasure is something you enjoy doing that you might be embarrassed talking about because it's not popular, or other people might tease you about it, or it's not part of the mainstream. So as an example, the thing is, it's a subjective thing. One person's guilty pleasure might be somebody else's like, I'm fine with that. What makes it a guilty pleasure? Do you remember last year when that limited series was on Tiger King, right? And there were people who were like, oh my gosh, you got to watch this. And there were other people like, this is the weirdest thing ever. Why would you even? I just think this is bizarre. And sometimes it's the things that spark kind of our tabloid interest. There are certain shows, reality shows on TV, that someone may say, yeah, I know a lot of people think, that the Naked and Afraid or The Bachelor are stupid. I love those shows. It's a guilty pleasure, regardless of how other people feel about it. If you feel a little bit embarrassed sharing the fact that you do that, or you do feel like it's a bit awkward. And oftentimes it is our impression of how other people are going to react to the fact that that's something we enjoy. What are guilty pleasures? They could be a TV show. It could be a movie or a movie series. It could be a musician, a music style, a type of music that you like, that you're kind of like, yeah, by the way, I actually enjoy listening to that. It could be a food or drink that you like that is not part of the popular mainstream. It could be lots of people have YouTube channels that they watch or podcasts that they listen to. It could be an activity that you participate in. That, it's like, yes, I'm actually, I'm part of a bingo group that meets every week, and we do these particular things. And you go, I know it's a little bit silly, but if you find yourself going, I know it's a little bit weird, but, or it's a little bit silly, but, or it's something that you think if people knew that I did that all the time, they would think I was a little bit strange or quirky. Those are kind of the guilty pleasures, right? What do we have here? I'm just looking. Shopping on QVC. I don't do it much. Yeah. Things that you kind of get teased or mocked for. The Fifth Element. It's a bad movie. I'm usually a film snob, but I love it. That could be another one. Is what are there are certain movies that everybody knows is bad. Guilty pleasure movie that came out within the last year or two that was considered by just about everybody to be a terrible movie was Cats, the movie version of Cats. I remember when the previews and the trailers were out, I went, nope, not gonna work for me. And yet there are some people who go, oh man, I love that movie. I watch it over and over again. Okay, that might be a guilty pleasure for you. What are some of yours? I'm going to talk a little bit about some of mine through the years. What were or are some of my guilty pleasures, just to kind of give some examples. And also, let's remove the stigma about these. We've kind of created this persona or this idea that certain things, because either we have been teased about them, we're self-conscious about them, or we even perceive that other people, from things that we've heard, that other people might give us a bad time about them. And so they become the sort of guilty pleasures. Let's get them out in the open. So what? So I enjoy something that you think is quirky. You enjoy something I might think is quirky. So what? We have different tastes. We enjoy different things. Once again, I'm not talking about addictions. I'm not talking about things that might truly be unhealthy. I'm talking about innocent things that we enjoy doing that are those guilty pleasures. And I think we can make it fun. Yeah, I have certain guilty pleasures, some of mine. In terms of food and drink, one of the things that I actually like that I know a lot of people don't, and I've always been a little bit cautious if I see it on a menu in a restaurant, I will even ask people if they'll be offended if I order this. I'm going to be in front of people. I like to eat, I grew up eating liver, beef liver, chicken liver. I particularly like chicken liver. And it used to be that there was, when we lived in Oregon, there was one of the Safeways near us actually sold chicken livers at the deli, the breaded and actually pre-cooked. I could get a bag of chicken livers and take home and munch on those. A lot of people go, really? You like that kind of stuff? That's weird. That would be a guilty pleasure for me. If I can find that and I can snack on that, guilty pleasure. I love doing that, right? Not everybody likes that. So what? Do I need to really feel guilty about it? I don't. There are a series of movies right now you can find. A lot of them are on Netflix. I call them teen rom-coms. They're these ones, and I don't know, you could think of some titles. There's like The Perfect Date. What are some others? They're the current equivalent of things like 16 Candles or The Breakfast Club, or those, which actually are considered classics now. But they're these series of what I kind of call teen rom-coms. They're kind of the teen version of the Hallmark movies, if you will, right? And I love to pull those out. I'll rewatch some of those. You can find them on Netflix. A lot of the same actors kind of recurring in all of those. A lot of people feel the same way about the Twilight movies, the Twilight series. It's kind of like, for some people, they're kind of campy and a little bit corny. But, you know, as those kinds of fantasy vampire movies go, but they love those. And I say, yeah, that's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love those movies and I rewatch them. Okay. And by the way, thank you for putting some of yours on here. Yes, Clueless, Legally Blonde. Thank you, Kim Baker. Oh yeah, Popeyes in Detroit had the best chicken liver. See, I miss, it used to be even like the KFCs when I was a kid growing up. You could go to the KFC and they would have those sets. A lot of people didn't order them, but you could get like a box of them or a bag of just the chicken livers and as a side. I'd still have, if you know of any places, by the way, around where I live, if you're in this, I don't know how many of you on here right now are in this area, but if you know of any delis or places around the Bay Area that sell I can buy the chicken livers at the grocery store and make them myself. Fine. But I love getting them pre-prepared like at a deli. Anyway, that's an aside, just something you mentioned it up there. Yeah, books. Certain books can also be a guilty pleasure. Yeah, I read those books. I reread those books, blah, 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 whatever it might be. Other guilty. When I was, okay, so this one's going to be good. And some of you are in the age range where you'll understand what I'm talking about. When I was in junior high, there was a music artist who, again, he was very campy. He was showing up on some of the shows. He was popular for a while because he was so quirky and weird. And his real name was Herbert Kari, and his stage name was Tiny Tim. How many of you remember Tiny Tim? Tiptoe Through the Tulips. I owned his record album. Kathy, I'm sure you'll remember that. Carla, you may remember that as well. That I owned Tiny Tim's record album. That was I think his one record album. It was based around his popularity in the late 60s because of Tiptoe Through the Tulips. He had this high falsetto voice and played a ukulele, and he was just weird. He was also, Herbert Kari himself was a fantastic musician and expert of different styles of music beyond the Tiny Tim persona. He and even on that album, he sang a variety of stuff, and not all of it was in that falsetto voice. He actually had this very interesting baritone voice that he sang with. Guilty pleasure to even admit that I listened to Tiny Tim and owned that album. But it was I played it over and over again, listened to that music. And it was a part of my exposure to different types of music and styles of music growing up. Quirky, absolutely. Guilty, by whose standards? Here's my current one, latest one. Part of the reason that this whole topic came up is recently I found myself, it started that I accidentally on YouTube ran across a flash mob. I'll look at them every now and then. I love a good flash mob video where it's been well done, well produced. The talent is decent, and you see there was some effort put into creating whatever the flash mob is doing, whether it's singing, playing instruments, a dance number. The setting it can be cool, and how it was actually filmed and stuff can be good. And I've gotten to the point I'm looking at a bunch of these flash mob videos. And then it got me looking at, because automatically, if you're looking at flash mob videos, you're going to find marriage proposal flash mobs, which leads to other marriage proposal setup videos. They're not all flash mobs. It's just different creative ways. Now there's become this, the bar has been really raised on how you propose and how you involve different things. And I found not only is it a guilty pleasure in terms of finding these and watching them, I've gotten very judgy about which ones are good and which ones are not, based on a variety of factors, including, was the setup done right? Sometimes with the marriage proposal flash mobs or videos, you kind of go, oh man, the setup, you could have built it up and then really had the surprise factor, and he missed the surprise factor because it was so obvious from the beginning to his partner that this was what was happening. You want to see that moment when the reveal takes place, that it's about her and that he's going to get down on one knee with the ring. If the reveal happens too early because it wasn't set up right, you kind of go, yeah, you missed the opportunity. Some of them drag out way too long. See how judgy I've gotten about these? Some of them, it's like, okay, you had the reveal. Now, why is this thing going on? Now you have a whole production number going on beyond that. You just proposed to this woman. Now make it about her, not you continuing to do this thing. So I've gotten very judgy about these and which ones are good and which ones are bad. And there's some that I even love so much that I'm showing them to other people, or I'm rewatching them because I go, this one was just great. This one, the energy is there, the reveal is good, that kind of thing. Guilty pleasure, right? So I appreciate that you are putting yours on there too, because again, listen, here's the thing about the guilty pleasures. I'm going to repeat this. I said it. If we enjoy it, if you enjoy doing something, if you enjoy watching something, if you enjoy reading something, if you enjoy listening to something, eating, drinking something, and it's not unhealthy, I guess even guilty pleasures, if I spent all day, every day doing nothing but watching flash mobs on YouTube and it became an addiction, guilty pleasure, I guess any guilty pleasure could turn into an addiction. If you're not doing something unhealthy, in fact, in some cases, it can be healthy. It can be mentally stimulating. It can be a release from other things. It can be a stress reliever. But if you have guilty pleasures that are just things you enjoy doing, who cares what other people think? Why does it matter if for somebody else it would be weird or quirky? We grow up with so much concern about what other people are going to think about the choices we make. Easily could say that my thing with socks, all my different styles and designs of socks, is a guilty pleasure. Yeah, it could also become an addiction. It could also become, a shopping addiction if I get too carried away with it. Maybe I am already. I don't know. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the chicken livers. I enjoy watching the teen rom-coms. I enjoy and it's not something that is taking me away from life. It can be those momentary distractions, those pleasure-seeking moments that are not bad for you. Don't worry about what other people think. And in fact, why did I share some of mine today? Why am I inviting you to share some of yours? Because I think it's like a lot of things. If we talk about these things, we remove the stigma. Go ahead and tease me about listening to Tiny Tim's album when I was younger. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because yeah, you go, yeah, it was quirky. Well, first of all, that was then, this is now. Second of all, even more so now, I appreciate the musicology that Herbert Kari brought to what he was doing. Quirky, off the wall, yeah. So are a lot of artists currently. You could say that about a lot of things. I remember being in a setting where somebody was making a point about modern music and said, who in here likes classical music? I was the only, I raised my hand and the person looked at me and said, yeah, I figured you would say that. So what? We can actually take pride. We can take ownership and pride of the things that we enjoy that are our thing. It may be unique. It may be to others a guilty pleasure type of thing. It may be weird. Enjoy it. It's okay. All right, listen. I think I've beat this topic enough, but I'm glad that you participated. Thank you for letting me share. Thank you for sharing some of your own. And I think one of the other things that happens is when we share these, we actually find out that other people actually share what we enjoy too. So we're getting ready to sign off here. Come here for a minute. I mentioned that we have family. Do you want to come sit on my lap for a minute, Carson Jean? You're going to sit right there. We can almost see you. I almost can't see you very well, though. You may want to come up here where we can see you a little bit better, like Nicholas does. Come over here for just a second. No? A little bit shy? All right, I got to move so we can wait. I got to figure out which way to move. There's Carson Jean. It's my granddaughter, Carson. And Carson and her mom and dad are visiting from Oregon this weekend here to see us. And so, Carson Jean, are you glad you're here visiting Lindsay and Poppy? Yeah. You're adorable. All right. Look at that. She's hiding in the background there. Hey, I wanted to tell you what's coming up the next couple of weeks here. Just sort of a look ahead. Next week is going to be fun. We're going to have a guest who has been with us in the past, Jenny Connolly, Jenny is a kick. Jenny is an actress, an artist, a writer, and a wife and mom. And by Carson Jean. Carson Jean's going back out of the room now. She made just a brief appearance. I'm glad she dropped by here so you could meet her. Jenny Connolly is going to be on next week. She and her family, she has 2 young sons. She, her husband, and the 2 boys just took a road trip, somewhat replicating the road trips that her husband David used to take when he was growing up. And she just blogged about this. Kind of tracked it on Facebook while they were doing it. And we're going to meet with Jenny next week, and she's going to talk about surviving her 41-day road trip, 41-day road trip that they took together as a family. And it's always, I'll tell you something, when Jenny is on, it's always a kick. She is fantastic. She is funny. So you'll want to be here next week. Whether you're planning on taking a road trip or not, you're going to want to hear her experiences. And then I'm just going to let you know, looking ahead, we're going to have a couple of weeks of hiatus here, the beginning of September. After Jenny's on next week, we're going to have 2 Saturdays in a row. We've got some family things going on, and Coffee Breaks with Steve will not be on September 4th and September 11th. And we will be back, though, in mid-September. So we're planning some cool shows. I think you're going to enjoy them. But it's going to be okay to just do coffee on your own, coffee breaks with friends if you want to on the 4th and the 11th. And that's really it for today. I'm glad you were here today. Thank you for tuning in. And remember that if you tune on here later and watch this in recorded fashion, still want to see your comments. I just appreciate you all. We're still a lot of things going on in our world. But remember that we're empowered to do what we can. So I would just encourage you in whatever ways you want to, in whatever ways you can, in whatever ways God has equipped you, find a way to make a difference in your world this week. Would you please? I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Take care. Have a great week.